Hey everybody, welcome on into the studio. I'm Jessica Putnam Phillips and this is ClayShare Live. Every week we do a live free tutorial and this week we have something really excited planned for you all. We have a tutorial using Diamond Core Tools handheld extruders and we're also going to be giving some of them away. So it's not just a how-to, it's a you get some. And so here I have an assortment of handheld extruders before me. And I'm going to talk a bit about these. I've used them now for a few months. I really like them a lot. I'm old-fashioned, many of you know. I love pulling handles. I've always loved pulling handles. It's just how I roll. But I know there's a lot of folks out there that hate pulling handles and have difficulty getting consistent handles. So these handheld little extruders here are great for getting really nice consistent results. They also are really nice for feet, so you could use them as a foot if you wanted to. And I bet there's other things we could do with them too if we put our minds to it. So hey. All right, I see folks tuning in from all over. We got people from Cape May, New Jersey, Colorado, Florida's in the house. Hello from Georgia. Hello from Skykill Haven, Pennsylvania. Hi. Hey, everybody. Alabama's here. Milwaukee. Hi. I love Milwaukee. I've been there once, and I really enjoyed it. Hi from Ohio. You're here, too. So this is going to help you so much for handles, and I've got two things that I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how to make handles for mugs. And these could be for hand-built mugs, these could be for wheel-thrown mugs, it doesn't matter. And we're also going to make handles for trays. And the thing about making handles for trays that gets tricky is you need to make a pair, and they need to match. That can be difficult. So I'm going to show you how, using these, you get it perfect every time. So, all right. So let's zoom in so I can show you all. Yeah. So currently, Diamond Core Tools has 9 of these handheld extruders. There could be an extra bonus one that I have, but it's nobody else gets it sort of a test situation. But we're not going to talk about that because that's a secret. So they have the R1 through R9. And I'm just going to quickly show you the actual extruder and the extrusion it makes. Now, you can see I have these extrusions on the board so that I can see what they look like, right? Because it's not really helpful if you cannot see what they look like. You need to see it. So what I have gone ahead and done is I've done little tests here, but also I have made some and bisque fired them. And so I have these longer ones in a cup, and I made them quickly. They're not as refined as they would be, and I didn't really take my time or as much care as I normally would if I was going to make one finished for a piece. I just wanted a quick test so that I could have these as a little reference. So you bisque fire them, and here's a really good way to do them if you want, right? Did it like a little inchworm, so that could be a handle on a platter or something. But this way you see it, it will last, and you have it as a reference in your studio. You could also mount these to a board and hang them, or just put a hole in them and hang them on a wall. So many ideas, right, that you can do with that. All right. So how to make the handles thinner with these tools. So Janet, I will show you. There's a way you can adjust it. And all you need is a Phillips screwdriver. That's all you need. I'm a Putnam Phillips, but I'm not. We'll get a Phillips screwdriver in the house here, and we'll adjust some down in a bit. But there's a way you can adjust this guide down. So let me just show you these. First one, I have the R1. This right here, and that's this trapezoid shape. So you can see the profile, and you can see it from the side. So it gives folks on Instagram a view. So you can see that's the R1. And then the R2 is more of this sort of triangle one happening right here. That's this one right here. And I think the R1 and the R2 would make really good feet. I did have someone message me asking if I thought these would be great for a gallery, for a flange, and I think they're too thick as is, but I feel if you cut this in half, it would work great. And then the R3 is just a half dome, like a half circle. So it's a really nice shape. This would make a great rim on a bowl if you wanted to add a rim to the bowl. So you tried some the other night and your handle got stuck to the block of clay. Yeah, we'll talk about that. There's things you can do to make it release. Yeah, there's options. So this right here, the R4, is just a simple little strap. And you can see I made this one really thin. So there was the question about making it thinner. And I've posted images of these up, and I will do an annotated image for everybody that actually has numbers and will, I mean, Diamond Core Tools has done that. I don't really need to do that for you guys, but if you need me to, I will. R5 has a little peak to it, just a little cute. This is a nice one. I like this one a lot. That's one that I would use. Some of these are not my style. You know, we all have our own style, and we have to think about our work and what we're making. So this one here is the R6. Again, it's a strap type handle. Really good one if you're going to do like a C-shaped handle. This one right here would be a good one, and that's the R6. And then the R7. Now we're getting into the ones I like a lot. I really like the R7. I like this little detail that's in it. I think it's a little fancier. It's just more my speed. So that's the R7. And then my favorite one out of the ones I have in front of me is the R8. That's my favorite one, the R8, and you can see the profile there. I love these two lines down the back. They have really nice, elegant finish, and I like the thickness of this one. So this is that's the R8, and then the R9. So if you win, we're giving away 2 prizes, so people get to pick which ones they want. You know, you don't have to pick tonight. And this is the R9. And this is another one I really like a lot. And so I was talking about how you can adjust them. So right here, there's a little screw, and if you loosen it, you can then, you have this guide right here. And you see you can flatten it, you can lift it out more, pull it down further. So this is the thing that's determining the thickness of your little strip that you're making. And so you set it to where you want it. And you're going to have to set it, test it, set it again. It's not a, you know, did it once, because you got to make sure you get the thickness you want. And then you go with it like that. They look like pieces of string cheese. Yeah, they do. They're making everybody hungry. Gonna eat some handles. All right. I thought we'd start with mugs, and I've got some trays here. I'm just going to scooch them off to the side. And I had these covered with plastic. I made these last night using GR Pottery Forms. I put them on the form, you know, I made them. I left them on the form overnight with plastic on them. I uncovered them this morning, took them off the form, shaped them to the shape I wanted them to be, and then had them covered all day. So they are leather hard, but not a hard leather hard. They're a soft leather hard. So they're not too dry where I'm going to be concerned about my handle not attaching properly. And then here's another one. So we're going to do 2 trays. That one's a smaller, this is a little deeper one, and we'll do both these before we're done tonight. But first we're going to start with mugs. Mugses. Because I mean, most people make mugs, right? That's something most of us do. So knowing how to make a good mug handle, that's I think what people struggle with. I don't want to say the most, but a lot. People really struggle with it because pulling a handle requires time and skill, and some people just, you know, we have limited time. We're busy people. So we want to make our handles and go. So I'm going to make a couple handles, and we'll talk about stickiness too. And I see some folks asking, how do you get entered in our giveaways? Well, if you're a premium member of clayshare.com, you're automatically entered. You don't have to do anything. Everybody else, go to clayshare.com, sign up for our email list, and that is how you are entered. Pretty easy. So this is a block of clay. Just whatever clay you use to make your mug, make your tray, is what you're going to use here. And I have been using B-Mix, and you can see it's been used a bit for handles already, right? And some reclaims in here too. You got me on 3. So I'm going to grab a work board just so I have a place to put my block of clay. And before we pull a handle, so what I'll do is I'll use a block of clay, and then when it's got a lot of cut marks, a lot of handle extrusion marks like this one does, I'll take my wire and I just cut it back so I have a fresh plane to work with, right? And this clay right here, I mean, it's perfectly good. It's been cut through. I'm just going to wedge this up, roll it out, make another platter or a mug, or throw it on the wheel and make something there. So you just wedge it back up and use it. Little tip, if it's dried at all, dip it in your bucket of water, just like that. So if you've been working with a block for a while and the end pieces are starting to get a little dry and you cut them off, dip it in your bucket of water and then put it in your reclaim, well, not reclaim, just put it back in the bag, just like that. And then of course seal your bag up and you can use it later. All right. How to make the handles thinner. So I showed that. I'm just seeing if I got any questions that I can address right now.
People asking if we're on Facebook.
We are on Facebook. Yeah, we're on Facebook tonight. Facebook's playing nice. They weren't playing nice the other week. All right. Now, we made those little test pieces, right, that I have on my board. And I did that for a very good reason. Because we have a beautiful mug right here. We on 3?
Yeah.
Beautiful mug, right? Beautiful mug needs beautiful handle. And I have an assortment to choose from. So you can put your handle up and you can see how it's going to relate. I'm going to go to 2. You're going to see how it relates to the pattern, the texture, the shape. So this right here is kind of interesting. This one could work. This is usually one of my go-tos, but I think it's too busy for this pattern because there's a lot going on there. That's pretty good. This one's nice. So I'm thinking one of these two, right? It's hard to pick. So this one is the R9 and this one is the R7. So they're very similar to each other. I'm just going to show you. The R9 has a little deeper, cut in the handle. See that? Little deeper cut. So that's the only difference between the two. So I think I'm going to go with the R9. And when you use it for the first time, you know, you're going to use it and you might have to adjust the guide on it because you might need a thicker handle. I'm looking at the sample handle I have here and it's too thin. So I already know I need to adjust it a bit before I use it again. So just loosen that screw, adjust your guide, and then you tighten the screw back up. And if it's too thick, then you loosen the screw and you move it up so it's not such a thick little strip. All right, so let's do a cutting. Let's do this, and I'm going to adjust all you folks on Instagram so you guys can actually see the happening, because if not, you're going to miss everything. All right, hopefully that's not in the way of any of the cameras. So we got your block of clay. This is the best way to cut through to get a good handle. Now, if I wanted a really long handle, well, okay, it's really easy to do. Take your block of clay. I'm cutting from the top down, just cut along the side, right? That longer side. So it's just whatever you need it to be for length, just start with that. Now your other option is you could wedge out some clay and block the clay out yourself. So you don't have to use a fresh block if you don't want to use your block of clay for this. You can wedge it, block it yourself, and then pull through them. So are there any that look like pulled handles? I would say the R4 looks very similar to a pulled handle right here. Now, mine's a little thin. Of course, I can make it thicker. So the R4, I mean, we can pull that through clay. I did adjust it. Let's do that one now. We'll do that one first. So we'll pull the R4 through. Just want to make sure I've got, so you're just going to put this down till your guide hits the clay, and then you're going to pull straight back. Is everybody ready? Nice, steady pull. and then peel up. I have found peeling from the back works best, and then you have a handle like that. And what you want ideally is your handle to be the same thickness as the mug you're putting it on, right? So if we take a cross section of our handle, yeah, maybe that'll be better. A cross section, and we put it up against our rim, we can see that's pretty close. So that's a nice thickness. Now, you might have to clean your handle a little bit. You know, I found sometimes there's a little drag. If that's the case, you just take a damp sponge and just smooth it along. But it's really not a big deal. If you gouge too deeply in the back, you'll get some lines, so you might have to take those away. So what that means is I need to adjust my guide so that I can make my handle fatter. I'm trying to make it fatter is what's going on. So I just pushed that back. Let's make a second one and see if I can get it thicker, because I did just push the guide all the way back, and we'll see what we get. What's the best way to seal up your bag of clay? All right, a little side thing, twist, and then there you go. That's it. Just sit it down. You can also use rubber band to seal it up, but that's how I do it. I go through clay really fast, so for me, you know, that's the way most people seal up their clay. All right, let's do this one. We'll pull, and then peel it up from the bottom, and you can see this one here. And you see that that one's thicker? See how that one's thicker? So you might want the chunkier handle. Maybe not. That would look nice on here, but I can pull a handle really easy. So for me, it would be, I would not use these to make a handle that looks like a pulled handle. I would use these to make a handle that looks more decorative, because I can pull a handle. And I like to do it. So for me in my process, I wouldn't use something else, right? So let's use this one, because I think this is the one I'm really interested in for this mug. And so it has this really nice shape. Look at that shape. I really like that one. That would also make a really nice tray handle, right? With the double lines there. Now, this is a different one. I'm wondering if I would like this. Let's give this a try. Here's the key. If you are getting sticking, I have found it's really hard to pull from the front. Try peeling from the back. Look at that one. That one's kind of fun too. So we've got a few handle options, and I have found, yes, they do a great job pulling the handle, but you might have to do, like I said, a little refining. So if I wanted to use this one here, which I think I do, I think this is the one I want. Looking at it, that's the way I want to go. So I'm just going to trim the top. And I like to pinch and flatten out my handle. Well, I guess I should talk about cleaning up first. So if you have it a little uneven, if you get any drag marks from the guide, which does happen, right? You can just go in, wipe it down, and smooth that. So you get rid of any inconsistencies that could be there. All right, I'm going to start with that. Do you like this one better? I like this one a lot. So I am pinching and flaring. You know, I want my handle to blend in to my mug, not be jammed like a piece sticking off of it blockily. Like, it's going to look like an attachment because it is, but I don't like it to look like it's a chunky thing that was just shoved on there. Now, that's because of the style of work I make. My work, you know, I want it to be a little more elegant, and I want it to have a seamlessness to it. So if you're making a little different work, then you might like a blocky, chunky handle. So don't think, because I'm saying I don't want that, Doesn't mean if you do that, that's wrong. It's all what is your style.
Which number is that one again?
This little guy right here, which is my current second favorite, is the R9. My favorite is the R8. So the 8 and 9 are my two favorites. So you see how I'm shaping my handle? If you wanted to make cabinet pulls, okay, I can pull a handle, but I'm not going to pull cabinet handles. No, I would use these. And so I can look at this. The other thing you can do, this was so easy to make, you could make a bunch of handle tests like this, right? Bisque fire them, and then you can always just put it right up against your piece. And be like, oh, do I like that there? No, no, not that one. Let's try a different one, right? So you can test it out and see. So this one's pretty good, although I feel like the handle is a little long. Let's see if we can go a little lower. Yeah, handle's a little big, so we're going to trim a bit off. I make my handles different lengths because everybody has different sized hands. And if you come into my studio or you pick up one of my mugs, you know, I always tell people you might like the way it looks from like the visual aspect, but you really need to pick it up. And if you don't like the way a mug feels, you're never going to use it. So this one is looking to be my winner, I think. But let's just, for argument's sake, oh, we have to get going because I have to do the, all right, I go to move. This is the pulled one, right? So you can see that, the one that looks like a pulled handle. And it really does look like a pulled handle. And then this is the trapezoid one, the pointy top one, I should say, not a trapezoid, because it's got a pointy hat. Give you a ridge. That could be nice too, with the ridge on the outside. But we're going to go with this one. And I have another trick that I've been doing for almost as long as I've been making pottery. And I can't remember where I saw this first. A whole bunch of us use cookie cutters. A whole bunch of us that are around a certain age. I'm not sure where it came from first. But I like to use a cookie cutter to refine and shape my handle ends. Alrighty, that looks good. Now let's slip and score it. My clay is pretty soft. It's B-Mix. It's Laguna B-Mix straight from the bag. If your clay is really stiff, talk to where you get it from your supplier. Your clay should not come to you cracking and hard. Your clay should come to you pliable and easy to work with. So we're going to slip and score where I put the handle up against my mug. And I'm lining up the line on my handle with the line where I celebrated the join. That's what we call it when you actually accentuate a slab-built piece where it meets, the two ends meet, right? We call it celebrating the join. And I'm just going to press this in, rolling my fingers up. And then you can shape the handle. Once you get it on, you get to play with it and shape it how you want it. And then I've got one more trick. If you're hand building and you find when you put your handles on you mess up the rims, well, get yourself a 6-inch terracotta flower pot, because that's all you need to put your rim right. Right your rims. So there is this handle. I think that one turned out, that's pretty nice. You can, you know, play with the shape a little more. So what I like to do is use usually I'll use one of these little color shapers, and I'll go in and I'll smooth out any slip that's squeezed out from pressing this on. You don't want to leave that there, that can lead to cracking. You get those little superficial cracks, that's from that. All right, so there's one. Ooh, 6:20, 5:25. I couldn't see the clock. We're cruising along. All right, so here is another hand-built mug. A little fancier, right? A little fancier than the other one because it has all the volume to it. It's got a bit of a tummy on it. It's, I'm coming a little closer because I feel like we were a little far away. It needs something a little fancier, I think. All these little crumbs wedge up, and you know, you recycle these too. You just keep them. So you started making smaller mugs, and even though you like big mugs, not everyone does. Exactly. And the thing is, if you're going to make pieces for people to buy, you need to accommodate them. And you know, my new class that's coming out Friday talks about pricing your work for sale. We do touch on selling a little bit. The selling class will be out in a little later, a little down the line here. But the idea is we have to make a living, and if you aren't making things that people want to buy, you're not going to make a living. So you have to find things you like making. It's a balance. Things you like making that will sell, right? Because it can't just be, oh, I won't make those, and because you don't like to make them. Well, if you don't like to make them, you got to find something else to make for people to buy. All right, this one's a little fancier, but maybe because it's so fancy, we should go with something simpler, like the one that looks like a pulled handle. What do you guys think? Like all the fancy is in the mug. Maybe we don't need the fancy in the handle. What do you guys think? I'd like some feedback. If not, I'm going with this R8, and I'm just going to pull a handle. I did get a new color shaper tool. Yes, my other one disappeared and never came back. Texture on my mugs. Yeah, this is my Moroccan tile. Our laser cutter is being delivered tomorrow. We are having the diagnostics run Monday and doing our first in-house cuts Monday. So we've already done test cuts. You've seen some of those because we've gone out to our distributor a few times and had them cut my designs. But yeah, oh yeah, we're going with this one. I love this one. This is the R8. That one is my favorite. It's my absolute favorite out of all of them. I'm putting it on everything. I'm trying not to because I have 9 of them and I want to give everybody love, but you know, sometimes you have your, don't say, and I said this, but sometimes you have your favorite child. I don't have a favorite child. Other people might, but I don't. No, I really don't, but you know, it's that thing. Maybe we should say favorite pet. All right, so again, we're going to do the same thing where we flare this out. I want more of a flare. You all know the favorite child thing was a joke, right? You like the pulled look with the fancy mug. Yeah, I did ask you. It's true. All right, what do you guys think? Vote right now. 1 for pulled handle, 2 for fancy handle. Vote now.
There's been a ton of pulled handle.
1 for pulled, 2 for fancy. I'm going to wait and give you all a second. And the first one that gets to 10, the first one that I count to 10 of is the one I'm going to do. So number 1 for the pulled, number 2 for the fancy. 1, 2, 3 number ones. Oh, and number 2, 1, number 2, another 2, another 2, another 1, a 2, a 2, a 2. Who? Oh, more 2s and another 1. Kevin, are you adding? 1 on Instagram. Ones. 2 pulled. 1, 2. The ones I think have it. You guys, the ones have it.
Yeah.
Ones have it. All right, so we will use the pulled looking one, but I tell you what, we'll use the fancy one because we've got to do some trays. So if your guide, if you're trying to make your handle thicker than your guide wants you to, you're going to get a line in the back. So all you have to do is just gently smooth that out. And then adjust your guide. And if you get little burrs or anything from your clay, you know, you just smooth them away with a damp sponge. The 1 is the winner. All my 2s, don't worry, all my 2s. We have a tray with the same pattern on it. We are going to go all fancy.
Well, like you're not going to use the fancy one.
Ever. That's it. It's never going to happen. No, I will use it in a minute, actually. All right, so I used my cookie cutter to cut my shape. Let's see how we're doing for size. Oh, that's going to be a good one. Flaring out the bottom. And this was the first one I pulled, and then I made it thicker, remember? I felt like the thickness of the first one was perfect, but you'll have to test yourself and see. Pulled handles are more comfortable to hold. Yeah, because our thumbs pull down, and that's why this mimics it, and it really does a good job with it. Because it's mimicking our hands. All right, let's take a look and see where we're at with that. That's pretty good. All right, let's go ahead and slip and score, and we'll attach this. I always love it when there's only 2 choices for something. You know, you ever try to get something and there's like 6 choices and you're like, ah, my brain. When there's 2, so it was like we had 2 handle options, 1 or 2. That's easy. I can handle that. Handle the handles. All right, I'm going to smooth my rim on my mug. Make sure y'all can see what's happening here. Lining up the top. And is so I have a bunch of videos showing you how to attach handles. I mean, I show you how to pull them too, but I also show you how I attach handles. So if you want more handle attachments videos, you can go check those out on ClayShare. And there's a bunch of free ones too, so you can watch the free. Watch the free. Or if you're a premium member, watch everything. All right, so I'm just pressing this in. No, this is a good shape. This is a really, it works so well with this mug. Now what I like to do is with some clean, damp fingers, I like to take the mug and I like to shape it a bit. The handle, I should be saying, not the mug. I mean, I like to shape the mug too, but so you're not going to see what it looks like unless you get down to the level of the mug. You have to get down to its level. So I'm going to do that. Let's see what we got. Yep, that looks like a good handle. And again, you clean up that bit of slip. And this hasn't even come off its little bat yet. It's still attached to the board. And I didn't mess it up as far as knocking it out of the round. So it's, what do you think? I mean, hold on. Let me grab, I know what I'm looking for. I just got to find it. I'm looking for one of my hand-built mugs that has a pulled handle. So I want to show you, if we're here and we're doing it, here we go. All right. Pulled handle by Moi. Extruded handle, Diamond Core Tools. You'd be hard-pressed to tell the difference, wouldn't you? They're very similar. Just a bit, yeah. So if you're doing production or you want to make a bunch of pulled handles or you're struggling with pulled handles, that pulled handle one, which was the, where'd I put it? R4, that would be the one to get. So if you want a pulled handle, get the R4. If you want a fancy one, get the R8. 2 people are going to win tonight. Maybe those will be the ones they pick. Everybody else that doesn't win, you know, we have 10% off with the code DCT Jessica 21, all capitals, right? But let's see who wins first before you guys buy. All right, here's a tray I made. And the pattern here is my Southwest design. And yeah, the cookie cutter is just a flower. It's a 1.5 inch, 1 3/4 inch flower. It came in a set. I've had it so long. It's not a high quality set, as you can tell. Over the years, it just keeps rusting away on me, but I still use it. I still use it. So we have this little tray here that is hand built. I used my Southwest design. And yes, this one will be coming back too, so don't worry about that. And we got some choices, and I really think it has to be this. I really think the R7. Just, you know, look at this handle with this one simple line down the center, how great that'll be on this. I think it has to be. I don't think there's an option. I mean, the trapezoid one could be cool though, although I think that's a better foot than a handle, right? Or a rim, that'd be a good rim. So I think we're gonna go with the R7. They do look similar, don't they, Anne? It's crazy. It's crazy. All right, we're gonna set this to the side, but we have to make handles, you know, they're gonna be like a little inchworm, right? And so we have to make sure we have enough clay to make the handles as long as we need to make them. So let me go ahead and quickly pull 2. How soon after making a mug tray should I attach a handle? So Madeline, I made these mugs at 3 o'clock this afternoon, and it's a hand-built mug. Depending on your studio, you know, you can sometimes add it right away. Sometimes you've got to wait a couple hours. I had them covered with plastic. The tray I made yesterday, but it's been covered with plastic. Ideally, I would have made it this morning. So there's one. But I didn't have time this morning, so I couldn't do it this morning. And 2, and you can see I didn't pull my second one as well as I could have, so I've got to pull a third one. But that's the beauty of these. It's not like it takes that much longer to pull another. So these 2 are going to work. This one's, it's not up to my quality standards. It's going to get rejected. And then just cut this away, and again, you fold this up, dip it in your water, put it in your bucket. So you end up with, you know, clay for recycling. You just wedge it up and use it right away, and it's not even a big deal. Okay, move that to the side. Now, we've got our handles. That's this one, so we're just going to put that away. And let's grab our tray. Do we need handles on these trays? Do we? Yes. Yes, we do. No. No, you don't. You don't have to have it. There's no right or wrong answer for that question.
No.
Yes. Yes. So, you know, you decide what kind of handle are you going to make. You're going to make a great big one. You're going to curve the side. Ooh. See, so you can make a great big handle curving out here. I am probably not going to make a handle quite that big. I'm going to trim them to the same length. So how many of you have tried to pull handles, and you know you pull one handle, that's great, you get the handle you want, and then you pull the second one and they don't match each other, and you're trying to put them on a tray, and you're struggling. With these, it's like they're the same. They're the same handle. Just the biggest decision you have is what size do you want to make your handle. So I'm going with these. Now, you do have to clean things up. I mean, I have dry clay, had a little dry clay on my board that got caught on my handle. I have some clay on my hands. So you might have to, you know, clean your edges up. I like to use this red rib to clean the back up if I have that guide. Sometimes leave the marks, right? And just use that to smooth everything down. So those of you who've been with me for a while, you realize I don't sweat stuff, right? I don't really worry too much about little things. You know, so if I get a little bit of dried clay on a handle, you just wipe it off, right? There's no worries there. Now, flip it over, smooth it down again. I had a little dry clay that got into my handle, so guess what? Color shaper to the rescue. See that? Just shoot. You guys, can you see? What camera are you on?
It wouldn't fall on 2 for me.
I hope not, because you weren't seeing any of what I was just doing at all on 2.
I was answering your question.
Yeah, he's going to get fired tonight. Well, I didn't realize he wasn't paying attention to the cameras. Sorry, folks. I was working here, and I thought that my camera guy was working too. Nice.
I'm going to leave comments
Yeah, I can actually talk to people. All right, so we smoothed these out, and I'm sorry everybody that couldn't see that. That's terrible. The people on Instagram had a great view though. They saw everything. All right, so we've got our little handles, and we're going to make inchworms. So we're just going to press down on the ends and pull up in the middle. So you're going to make an inchworm, 1 inchworm, and then make another. These are inch snakes because they're pretty big. So I guess they wouldn't be inches; they'd be like foot-long snakes. Yeah. All right. I'm going to, again, flare this out because we're going to do something really cool with the end of this. You've got a hand extruder. I have a hand extruder too, just a little small hand extruder, and I got it once upon a time. I thought I'd make handles with it, but it turned out to be a no. No, I didn't. These I do make handles with because, you know, I could pull a handle, but when I want that fancy handle, this is my go-to, right? You would all go on strike if I fired Kevin. Well, you guys know I'm never going to fire him. He just has to get fired at least once a week to keep him on his toes. Right? Like that's how it goes. Of course, he just heard me say that I'm never going to really fire him, so that doesn't work anymore. All right. So we've got little strap handles. Now, if you wanted to make your cabinet